Hello, this is Cecil Sunk here from Hotkeyit.com, and this will be the second time I'm recording this entire video because the first time my mic was on the ground and you couldn't hear a single thing I was saying. We have Creator Prime and Slayer's Clyde. What I'm going to be talking about in this video is how to play like Creator Prime. I'm going to glean as much knowledge out of all the game from these two replays that I possibly can, share it all with you, and hopefully you'll learn not only how to play like Creator Prime and learn from all his decisions that he made, but hopefully you can try to glean as much information as possible on actually doing this on your own time, analyzing replays on your own without a Hotkeyit video. So that way I can possibly help you learn how to learn on your own as well. So let's just watch mostly Creator Prime in the early game. Things to note are that he does 4 straight chronos on his Nexus. I usually do only 2 chronos, but I'm going to actually mimic what he's doing because my chrono boost usage in the early game always felt a little awkward, not quite sure what to spend it on. 4 chronos on the Nexus, and then you can chrono other things after that if you wish. He's just doing a standard 1 gate fast expand. Looks like he's about to order his Zealot to construct it while the Cybernetics core is finishing. Ideally you want the Zealot to finish at the same time the core finishes, so that way you can order a Stalker if you need a Stalker. He scouts a CC first. You can't do the fork probe pull like I detailed in my other video, because this is a 4-player map and he scouted it too late. If he had scouted it first, you could do a 4 probe pull as a reaction, but we're going to see what Creator Prime does instead. Of course, he harasses the heck out of the probes down here as best he can with his, or SCVs, and he gets only 50 Vespene, pulls probes off of that, chrono boosts his Nexus once, and then blaze down a Nexus with Mac. So this is very similar to the Huck 23 fast expand that you can see on Team Liquid in the forums, but slightly different because he does 1 extra chrono on the Nexus in his main and gets another probe. Now, if your opponent just has a fast expand, a CC first like this, he's not going to have any gas for a long time. You can see now he doesn't even have enough for a Tech Lab, because he needs 1 more, and he doesn't have enough for a reactor. So there's no gas anything that will be out at this time in the game. That means Stalkers are going to be king of the early game, hardcore. So what does Creator Prime do? He gets 4 of them. Here's 3, and the 4th one will be out shortly. He got a Robo facility right at 6 minutes, and he does that because he knows that no aggression is going to be coming from his opponent whatsoever, and then 2 gateways after that. And with his 4 Stalkers, he's going to be able to pick off and kite anything that his opponent can throw at him basically infinitely. He stocks up 400 minerals right after he goes gate, Robo, gate, gate, delays his Nat Gas. Usually the Nat Gas will be going down right now, and instead of Nat Gas with 2 Forges afterwards, he decides to get a Nexus at his 3rd, and he does this because his opponent was CC first. Now this must be a very good reaction to CC first, because it's all he sees. He doesn't know that Clyde is actually about to take another base. So even if Clyde, no matter what Clyde does at this point in the game, Creator Prime must be feeling very comfortable with 4 Stalkers, a fast 3rd, delaying his Nat Gas, while having a Robo facility and 3 gates. So I recommend all you guys do the exact same thing. After the Nexus at the 3rd goes down, you take your Nat Gas. Instead of getting 4 sentries, he only invests in 2. Of course, his Vespene was delayed, so he can only afford 2 like this. And he also put a little extra Vespene into another Stalker. He saw a Marauder in the pack, so in case of concussive shells, he doesn't try engaging with the Stalkers. He goes around the army, pushing up the middle of the map, or what was presumably pushing up the middle of the map, or sitting in the middle of the map, with his Observer. Because the goal of this Observer is to get into the base and see what's going on, which you can see is actually invaluable information for Creator Prime. As he can see the 3rd CC, he saw the factory floating, and he can see that medevacs are on the way. If medevacs are on the way, you need to immediately chrono out Blink, just like so. He gets 1 Immortal for some extra firepower in his army, and this right here is an army that's made to defend your ramps. This is not an aggressive army that's going to be pushing out across the map. There's a small amount of units, small amount of sentries with high energy. This means you need to use efficient force fields on your ramps and use Defender's Advantage to defend the mid-game aggression from the Terran opponent. Now Creator Prime, now that he has his 3 bases saturated, he can go for his end-game plan faster. Like this basically projects you straight into the late portion of the mid-game. He wants Blink, double upgrades with Colossus, and you can see once this is fully saturated, those 2 geysers, he ends up getting a Templar Archives for Templar as well. Now Clyde just stemmed up the ramp and took out an Immortal. That was an absolutely terrible thing to do. If your opponents do this, you should be able to absolutely shred their army by just trapping the units up top and keeping a Guardian Shield on your stuff. Even if your opponent waits for medevacs, like Clyde didn't, you should be absolutely fine. So now, Creator Prime has an amazing lead in food. He's throwing down a lot of pylons. Getting his 2-2, researching Lance, Colossus tech, Blink's about to finish. He's going to get a support base somewhere around here momentarily. And he ends up winning the game in a little while with just a gigantic push. Now he's using Blink, like I said, to stop drops. He has 2 observers on the map currently being active, roaming around. One in the lane of travel, another one on other lanes of travel, secondary lanes where drops would be going. That way he can spot for drops with his Blink Stalkers. Stopping drops is going to be your main goal with these Blink Stalkers in the mid game, and that's where a lot of your APM should be focused. Here's the second replay I have of Creator Prime. It's Slayer's Clyde. This time it's a 2-player map, so there's a few differences in the opening of Creator Prime, but not too many. Again, 4 Chronos on the Nexus, the first 4. Gateway, Cybernetics Core. The scouting info that Creator Prime gets is that there's no gas of 1 Rax, and no wall off. This almost always will mean that there's going to be a fast expand, 1 Rax fast expand. Notice that he does not pull his guys off of gas completely, and seeing this, unlike when he saw the CC first, he has just 1 probe mining Vespene, and then puts on the other ones. So that right as his core finishes, he'll have about 50 Vespene to order a Stalker right after the Zealot and Warp Gate Research at once. So he wants double the amount of Vespene as last game, but not more than 100 when the core finishes. He did get a Zealot while the core was constructing, unlike last game, because this is a 2-player map, and engineering bay blocks are very common when a Terran is doing a 1 Rax fast expand, just to try to delay your Nexus. If they try that, you need a Zealot so that you can take it down fast enough. Again, continuing to order out more Stalkers. Even Chrono boosts one of them, gets his Nexus down before these 2 extra gates. Let me pull up the production tab so that you guys can have a production tab up. Extra Stalkers, Chrono, Gateway, 2 more, and scouting around looking for SCVs wandering around the map with these extra Stalkers. Stalkers in the early game are basically king because there's nothing that can stop them. They're faster than everything else, have long range. Now, he saw momentarily, like a moment ago is what I'm trying to say, with the scouting probe, that there's a small amount of bio and no bunkers. Research complete. Now Creator Prime actually sees with the scouting probe that there's a small amount of bio here. Just a moment. He saw 4 or 5, maybe 6 Marines, no bunkers. So in seeing no bunkers, he gets 1, 2, 3 gateways, and not a robo facility, but a 4th gateway. That way he can be extra aggressive due to the fact there's likely to not be any bunkers because he didn't see any, and there was a small amount of bio. So now, here's an engagement. What I would do is probably not react as well as Creator Prime, but in keeping his sentries in a little ball. Oh, and let me back up just a moment. I gotta comment on the sentries. Creator Prime, as his gateways finish, warp in 4 sentries. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then immediately pushes out across the map and lays a proxy pylon down with his probe. He keeps the sentries in a little ball across the map, so that way, if he does get engaged out in the middle of the map, he can do this with his force fields, force a retreat and damage a whole lot of Marines. Now, what's important when you're doing a push like this is that you don't lose too many, if any, if you can prevent it, of your Vespene heavy units. He only has 5 sentries, 3 stalkers. That's not a whole lot of units. But with good micro, you can do a whole lot of damage with a small amount of units. You want to keep the guardian shields over your zealots. You want your zealots to be in front of your army. And those are the 2 main things, like the most important things. Guardian shield over the zealots in front. You can see back at home he's finally getting his robo facility. And in doing so, he needs 1 more geyser, because with 4 gate or 3 gate robo, you need 3 geysers. And now he sees that there actually were not any bunkers up. The reason for there no being bunkers up is because of this 3rd OC. And now Slayer's Clyde is going to die. All because he was a bit too greedy and delaying these bunkers. Took a little extra damage out on the middle of the map and it was just too much. And Creator Prime ends up killing him because of it. Pushes between the 8 and the 9 minute mark of gateway units off of 3 or 4 gateways are very, very strong. The reason for that is because Stim won't be finished. You can see Stim just now 50% done. These tech labs, add-ons, reactors, add-ons are just going to be finishing at about this time, so they won't be able to really affect your battle. There would have been just a bunch of dead time with no marine production. No way medevacs should be out. This is basically the weakest point of the Terrans mid-game, and a lot of times they have to rely on bunkers just so that they don't die. If you push up the ramp and you trade with zealots, you won't really be behind as long as you kill some bunkers and perhaps some bio as well, and you pull SCVs off the mineral line, force SCVs to come off. The reason that you can trade zealots is because you're not losing any of your gas heavy units. That way you don't delay any of your tech whatsoever. You're only trading zealots, which means you're trading very efficiently. And the rest of the game is basically just Creator Prime pushing up the ramp, killing Slayer's Clyde, because Slayer's Clyde made 1 too many mistakes, and the game ends up ending. If you guys have any questions on how to play like Creator Prime in this video, please ask me. I'll answer them on the Hotkeyit forums, and I hope you enjoyed the video.